Let's talk about the differences between coaching or training middle school athletes and high school athletes. And let's start off by saying sometimes they are very, very different, and other times it's more of a training age difference. So some of the bigger differences with middle school athletes, especially when you're looking at training them in the weight room, is going to be you're going to really be teaching them basic foundational things. Things like how to do exercises, balance, body control, how to pick appropriate weights, when to progress, rep integrity. Can they do the same rep, like or the same kinds of repetitions throughout the entire set? Or do they look different and it's kind of hard to tell what they're doing and how hard the set is? So some very basic things that you're going to be teaching them. You also really need to focus on teaching them how to be coached. So this is something that I think is overlooked a lot and missed by a lot of kids, or by a lot of coaches coaching kids, is to teach them how to be coached. What it's going to feel like when you give them instruction, when you give them feedback. A lot of kids haven't been really told no, or they haven't been told they're doing things wrong, and they don't know that they're doing things wrong. So all of a sudden for a middle school kid, it can be like, whoa, this coach is like hammering me. This is really mean. And you need to explain how coaching sometimes sounds like maybe they're going to take it as mean, but really you're just teaching them how to do something properly versus what they're currently doing. So there's going to be a lot of learning how to give positive feedback, along with sometimes explaining what they're doing improperly. I talk to my staff all the time about walking around the weight room and just telling kids what they're doing right. Because sometimes you can just stand there as a coach and you look around and you really don't know what to say. And then you're not actively coaching, you're not engaging, you're not making them better. So especially for this kind of age group, middle school age group, you're gonna wanna just walk around and tell them the things that they're doing correctly so that they know to do that. It reinforces that behavior. And then you can also start to teach them what they're doing wrong and how to do it better. Now, a lot of people then think like, oh, well, once kids are in high school, they're totally different. Well, there's not that much of a difference between an 8th grader and a 9th grader. And sometimes there's not that much of a difference in the training age of a 7th or an 8th grader to even a sophomore in high school who hasn't really been doing any training. So sometimes you have to really look at the training age, not just their biological or chronological age. They might not know what they're doing in there. You could have a real big kid that looks really big and strong but has never been in the weight room. That kid is going to need to know the same things that I just talked about with the middle school athletes. They're going to have to start from basics, and they're going to gradually build up. Now, the volume that you can give to high school athletes usually is going to be a little bit greater than the volume for middle school athletes. For example, in a lot of our middle school programs, we just do one set of 20 reps for about 6 to 10 different exercises. We teach them when they're able to do all of the reps in one set, then they can move the weight up. If they can't get all the reps, then they stop, they put it down, they take a break, and then they come back to it to finish the 20 reps. Well, when they're in high school, they can usually start doing multiple sets. You might even be able to get them into more complex type of programming, like percentage-based programs, supersets, giant sets. They're gonna know a little bit more because they have some training experience. Maybe, but you are going to have to teach them all of those things. Also in high school, there's going to be a lot more teaching them how to follow directions and to also give instructions to each other. So you're going to be able to start coaching like teamwork and leadership. It's not going to be necessarily just about the lifting. There's going to be a lot more that goes along with it. So are there differences between middle school and high school? Absolutely there are. Sometimes they're not as big as you might think, but your approach to that is going to be very different. It's also going to be very different than coaching younger kids than middle school and kids that are in college or professional athletes. All of the programs are going to be different, and your approach to them is going to be very, very different. I hope that helps you kind of differentiate a little bit between what it's going to be like to coach a middle school versus a high school athlete.